all right, the microphone's near us this time, so.
All right, should be live.
Okay. All right. Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Town of Webb Town Board, June 9th, 2020. We'll call the meeting to order, and I'd ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm going to thank the audience, everybody who's attending out there in Webbland. Yeah. The next regular meeting will be held on July 14th, 2020 at 7 p.m. As of right now, the governor has extended the restrictions on public meetings until July 6th again, so we'll see what happens then. The July audit of claims meeting is scheduled to be held on the third Monday of July, on July 20th at 5:30 p.m. And we will play that by ear next month and see how we're doing. Executive session may occur this evening if we deem it necessary. Unfortunately, due to the present pandemic, there isn't a whole lot of town business to be had, so we'll go with what we can. As for correspondence, I did get a letter, or it's an email actually. Excellus has requested to the state a 6.4% increase for our particular health care plan for the employees.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Now that's just what they've proposed. We won't know what the actual figure is till September. Could go higher though too. Don't forget. Could go lower. Could go higher. We don't know.
So this is a good time to discuss the options.
I talked to Ian for a little while.
Probably need to revisit that for sure then.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, we have to wait. We have to see in September what the actual figure is, but now's a good time to think about and discuss.
Because last year was just a percentage of
was small.
Yeah. Really
Very small. Not less than 2.
And the reasoning they gave behind it was, even though there has been very little in the way of procedures, activities with the health insurance, they're expecting that once everything loosens up, there's going to be a flurry of everyone catching up on all the procedures that they have been
Look at all the
putting
money
off.
they made the market though.
Right. However, so what they're going to try and do is pad the coffers
It's not
for
an
that big
excuse
hit.
because it would have been going on anyways. They're saving money right now.
Ah,
They're saving money and they're making money that they don't spend, right?
Mhm.
Because they're still getting revenues. They're
Nah, that
making
doesn't
money.
Right.
make like sense to me, but
Well, would you do it if you could get away with it?
It is capitalism.
Well, it gets
Yeah.
looked at. It gets looked at by the state first.
Yes.
So.
The state will look it over and see what they're. So.
but that's a lot for us. I mean, what we spend in insurance right now,
Right.
you can do the math pretty quick. That's over $60,000 for.
Mm-hmm. I did get one other letter. I just got it from the Community Foundation, thanking us for $1,000 that we gave last year in October for the Herkimer County Community Development Plan. Robert started, and I went to a couple meetings, and that is again on hold because of the pandemic. We haven't had meetings, so same thing again. The only business I have is I'm looking for, would you consider a motion to be a co-applicant in adopting a resolution supporting an APA map amendment for the property located at North Street, tax ID number 041.2-1-7, with a listed owner of Old Forge Woodlands LLC. The amendment requests that the property be changed from its current designation to be included in the hamlet of Old Forge. And the request itself and all paperwork would be handled by the applicant, the current owner. Do you have any questions? Or?
My understanding, there's absolutely no financial consequences to the town at all.
No, it is an attempt to incorporate the land into the hamlet and be a subdivision and then subdivide it. And
Just
develop
that
it.
particular property?
Just that one for now.
Just that.
Yeah. So, any questions or?
I mean, is there any, so there's no real liability or cost or anything like that, what we're saying?
Not to us.
To us.
It would just, when they put the application in, it would look better if we're a co-applicant and we're in favor of it and we support it.
And realistically,
Yeah.
we've been talking about affordable housing and everything else.
Correct.
So it makes sense.
Right. And when I
The
talk-
area over there makes sense.
Right.
And when I talked to the lawyer up at the APA, today again. They're all familiar with it. They've been dealing with the owners for quite a while now. So. And they don't have a
They still
problem.
have, APA will still have jurisdiction for, wetlands, various other items, but
Right.
vast majority would be held by us in town then, as far as our codes and enforcement.
And also remember that once this happens, then I have to go through 2 more procedures to expand the water district into there and expand the sewer district.
At no cost to
into-
us.
At no cost to us again, but it's
But we
gonna
have
be
to have 2 more districts.
2 more districts, public hearings.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of procedures that'll go.
But the plant can handle it.
Right.
Especially with the upgrades that will eventually become, different topic completely.
I think it's a good thing for the town.
Would it be
Yeah.
a thought that our property should be included in that?
This is a separate action.
Separate action. This is
all
private.
separate?
This is a private individual.
What do you mean?
Well, we own the pavilion and the soccer field and all that.
We can request that as a town?
Could, if we wanted.
I mean, in order, when you're in the hamlet, it makes it a little easier to do things, expand, things like that.
It changes the criteria, yes.
Right.
We could, and we could do it anytime. It doesn't have to be.
Rather
included
than
with-
2 different times, if it could be all in the same package, but I didn't know that it had to be
Well, I mean,
separate.
if something you really want to do, we could piggyback that
Right.
in another meeting down the road.
Right.
Okay.
And again, it's not that big a deal to, it would actually be a separate application,
It would.
I think.
That
Well,
was my
they're owned by
question.
separate entities.
Yeah,
correct.
Separate
Separate.
applications.
All right.
But we could do that.
And
Yeah.
just out of curiosity, not that makes a difference, I mean,
Sure.
I'm for this. Is there a plan that's been put in place or presented at all, or anything like that as far as ideas, or not really?
You mean from the property owners? Yeah, I've had some discussions with them. As far as lot sizes and, I'm not that familiar with the land up in there, the terrain itself, so I don't know how many lots they can actually get out of it. But I have talked to Scott Gaffney about water and sewer, which again would be their expense. There would be a sewer pumping station involved, but it would be theirs, it'd be private.
I can pretty much guarantee you that would be the only way.
Yes.
It is,
I guarantee it, for that to be developed.
yeah.
Okay.
That property actually goes up, if I'm not mistaken, Don, you probably know this, goes up behind our,
It does.
kind of wraps around
Mhm.
our property.
Right. The sewer access would actually be up by the cemetery. And there's a water main that runs through there. So, already.
Okay.
And it is out of the hot zone, so we can use
Right.
that water.
Worst case scenario, we push it up, we bring it back.
Yeah,
Right.
but we're good. So everything's good to go from our end. They were just, they asked us if we would be supportive of it and be a co-applicant to help them
All right, cool.
move it through. So, any other discussion? So I'm open to a motion to
I'd make a motion that
be
we.
co-applicant.
we,
Motion by Mike Ross,
Yeah.
For the EPA.
second by Kurt Gardner. Can I have a roll call vote?
Councilman Gardner?
Aye.
Councilman Hale?
Aye.
Councilman Green?
Abstain, recuse, whichever word I'm supposed to use.
Either one works good.
Recuse.
Councilman Ross?
Aye.
Supervisor Burchester?
Aye.
We've got 4 ayes and 1 abstain.
Okay, so moved. Thank you.
That's all you have, Dave?
That's it. I told you.
Boring tonight.
I did have some stuff which didn't come through on public topics, so I'll wing it. Is it on yours?
I didn't see it, no.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Unless it's,
There you go.
I'm probably in there.
Maybe it-
Yeah,
This is next page.
not good, not good. Oh, you printed it out, thank you. All right, so let's go one at a time. Thank you. Councilman Gardner,
yeah,
the floor is yours.
I guess, I wanna talk about the beach and the summer camp. The beach is opening Monday, June 15th. There's an article in the paper that describes, Jackie said it has a bunch of information and details in there, but I'm excited to see the beach opening. And then also the summer camps are gonna happen, so please reach out to her if you're interested in the summer camps. The new guidelines just were released today on that, so she's going through everything, so some things are gonna be changing here now that the guidelines are out, have been revised. So, if you are interested in the camp, in the next day or two, reach out to Jackie and find out what those will be as they get updated.
Do they have they posted them someplace?
They did, yeah. I think they're on the New York Forward site. I'm not sure exactly where the guidelines are for the camps. We will be posting phase 3 guidelines tomorrow, I believe, for restaurants and for
Tattoo parlors.
personal care. So
Spas.
Spas, yeah.
so those guidelines are out. Assuming that phase 3 starts Friday, which is I don't think has been announced, but assuming everything seems to be good. And then I just wanted to talk. I talked to AFTA. The mountain bike trail's coming along great. They're making great progress with that. They're expecting that to be open, the new one, in July, and then also the kids pump track and one of the skills park that they have going there. That should be done by July too.
Awesome.
So that's coming along very nice. And then the snowmobile garage chuck and everybody over there, they've done a great job on the snowmobile trails out there. So the mountain biking's out there. I'm seeing a lot of people use them.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic on those.
And just a reminder for anybody that is interested in the mountain bike trails, Trail Forks, all the trails are loaded up on there. There's miles and miles of trails to ride out there in the area between Macaulay and the snowmobile trails, and then a conversation that me and Barb had, and I think you're a little bit a part of it, just on the garbage cans on Main Street. I think that we moved a few around. Scott moved a couple around that were just to kind of, there was a couple spots that were brought to our attention that were seeing some higher rates of trash on the side of the road in different areas. So, Barb was concerned with over by Green Bridge, so I think there's a can over there by now.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another can that's been put in down towards Diorio's way. But I think that, whether if it's this year or when we do the budget, I think it's just a good reminder for us to re-look at and let's assess. Maybe, I think there's a couple more places that could use some more cans, just to keep the neighborhoods clean now that we're getting a lot more foot traffic up and down Main Street.
What do you mean Green Bridge, over by the hiking trails, or?
Yeah.
They actually put it on this side of Green Bridge toward town. We had asked them to put it in the parking lot because I'm afraid it's gonna end up in the water.
That's why I was asking the
Yeah.
question, how close is it to the hood?
It's there, so it may be wise to ask Scott to
Yeah.
put it.
Or it's
So-
gonna be a
Put a
diving
chain
board
on
or
it.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's happening is that that's become a hot spot for launching the kayaks and canoes. So
Okay.
everybody's launching the
So it
boats
makes
over
sense to
there,
have it there.
with Mountain Man being
And the
closed.
trails to hike are right there also, that a
Right.
lot of people
Yeah.
walk
Yeah.
those trails.
Nick's Lake.
If you go over there on the weekends, though, you'll see there's cars and there are a lot of boaters, so it's an easy
Sure.
access point, obviously.
That's
So,
Wendy Kelly had identified this as a problem. She asked for one on either side, which probably isn't a bad idea if it's gonna get that kind of traffic.
right. But we're limited on cans that we actually have.
Right.
Yeah, and I would prefer you
So.
talk about it in the budget for next year.
Yeah.
Correct. That's what I figured. I just wanted to mention
Not
it,
the
bring it up,
numbers are
and
just starting to
I
flow
looked
in.
at the prices of the cans and they are expensive.
Yeah.
So, I figured that would probably be a next year thing, but just wanted to mention it so it was out there.
At the time, I think was a grant for
Yes.
those cans at the
All the
time,
garbage
probably not
cans
now.
we have right now were bought with a grant, so anything we buy from now on comes out of our pocket.
I did ask
Unless we can find
Rob,
somebody to
and
write a grant.
I asked Rob. Right now, grants are pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
There are
So
no CFA.
we'll look at that down the road here, but right now there's really nothing available for.
Things will loosen
much
up
grant.
next year.
And then I just don't know how this works, but I'm sure it's been brought up before. But I noticed a lot of traffic. There was a tremendous amount of traffic on Main Street this week with people walking around, and this past weekend and the last few weekends. And the need for a crosswalk, I think, and I don't know if this is a possibility. I don't know how it works with the county or the state. Like somewhere's between where the school is and up to where Sylvan Village is, there really needs to be another crosswalk identified, and somewhere's in there that there's so many people crossing the street over there. It's just
I think you'll be
a
told
concern.
that it has to be where there's a street.
An
that comes
Has to be
out.
at a crossing.
Has to be at an
Has to be
intersection.
So-
They will not put it in the middle of a road. That's
right,
what
but
we've
I
always
just didn't
been
know
told.
with down towards like where Ozzy's or Hollister says.
And that, I
if that
can
would
tell you the
qualify.
answer to that one is that goes, because that street goes to a parking lot, I think they said no to that one.
Okay. I
I can
figured
ask
you brought it
again,
up,
but
just-
I think we asked.
It's just something that was stuck in my head that I just wanted to ask the question to them, so.
Correct.
I think that's all I really have right now.
Hi. Councilman Hale?
A
Follow
few things. We had a trash issue, probably everybody, we've had it for a long time, Delaware and Pawnee area. And we talked about, Dave and I talked about it, I think you and I talked about it also. And the guys are having to clean it up all the time, and they do, but it's becoming a bigger problem. Well, so we tossed some ideas around, and Scott actually took it on himself to actually track down some information on it as far as where the stuff was coming from, and talked with Ron, police chief, and they actually did a kinder, gentler kind of an approach, and actually talked to a few people up there, and they said, yeah, didn't realize it was being an issue, so they will take care of it. So hopefully we're moving in the right direction without having to be nasty people in regards to it. But it's a problem that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
But, so we are looking at it. We know it's a problem, but we're going to try to get to the bottom of it. Hopefully this might solve it without having to go to another extreme like bear boxes and stuff, because it's again, it's not something we have budgeted for. And honestly, they should be required to put something like that in anyways.
Right.
Yeah, they should be putting the barrier up.
So it's an issue, but
That homeowners-
the thing is, people will actually come up to you on the street and say something to you about it. So we are actively addressing the problem. So hopefully we'll get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Is that a homeowners association or something up there? or-
They do have one up there, right? But it's not my problem. It's not my problem, but it's somebody's problem. But
Well, it's
And,
their
and,
problem.
and then the standard, it was renters.
exactly.
But they can be educated also
Right.
that our transfer station is open 6
Well,
days a week.
and that's the kind of stuff that Scott is actually doing, trying to be proactive with that.
Right.
And Chief Johnson has actually sent one of his guys up there to actually scour that a little bit. So,
Good.
which is great. It seems like we may be getting traction, and that'll be great. Yeah, that'll be a good
Well,
direction.
just the same, yeah. I mean, there has been a lot of bear activity this year.
Yep. So
And the crows.
Yeah, crows are worse
the
than
bears,
yeah.
two mama bear and two babies and the big sow were at 7:05. They've just put their garbage out, and at 7:05 I was driving by and somebody was getting into they were in the garbage area.
Yeah.
Just they were waiting for it to be delivered.
Mhm.
So unfortunate, but that's where we live. Bald Mountain, I do go up Bald Mountain on a somewhat regular basis. The graffiti on top of the mountain, has anybody seen what's going on up there?
Is there more? Because the state has addressed it.
Okay.
They're
Good.
aware.
I haven't been up there in a couple weeks, but this is on the top of my list of things for a while.
I can tell you, somebody called me and said that they had a niece or nephew that was coming up and they wanted to volunteer to go up and clean it up. And when I called DEC, they told me that they wanted it left alone because they're still investigating and.
Oh.
Okay. Well, it's pretty disgusting if it's still there.
Mhm.
And so I guess somebody should follow up.
Are you talking about on the rocks? Because
On the rock.
there's
Yes.
also apparently in the tower, there's more as well. And they just painted it last year, I think.
Yeah, I have not personally been in the tower. I don't go up to the tower, but social distancing.
It's a shame.
Was it on the
people
rocks
like that.
past the tower? Like, once you go past the tower? is that
And
where
it's
you-
also on that flat, where it looks like that shelf.
Yeah.
There.
Oh,
That's
okay,
where
I
they
didn't
had
see
it.
that.
And
They've just made a mess of it.
It's just not
It's too bad.
appropriate.
No.
It's
especially
horrible,
shame.
actually. It's
Right.
ridiculous.
And it doesn't need to be where people spend time with their families, young families and stuff.
It
So-
might be worth a call to the DEC to ask them, they must have pictures at this point,
Oh, they do.
if
Is
it
it
would
worth
be
a phone
cleaned
call
up
or-
before
probably.
the season.
They're investigating it. I talked to Jack Graham too when court opens. I don't know if that, he said that might not be appropriate to send somebody up there for community service to clean it, but, we're always looking for places for people to go
Right.
visit if they broke the law. So, that may be one of them.
Well, I just wanted to bring that front and center, that's
Yeah.
all. Okay.
Cleaning off the rocks is not an easy task either.
No, it's not. Sometimes it takes a heavier equipment to do it, so
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, but we do need
It
to
is.
keep
Yeah.
an open mind in addressing those issues. Boat dock, we were just talking about this. We do have something in play. Dave and I I think Kurt, and I think we all discussed this, didn't we? Last
Oh,
year?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been,
But I know you
And the
and I
chief was
sat
in the
with
room
Ron.
at the time also.
Okay, and then we went over and actually sat with him in regards to it. There is a plan that we put together. It's in, that Ron had actually, he has a file, it's ready to go. It doesn't change the timeline or anything like that, but it does change the, you know, as far as the enforcement, how they're gonna do it, and moving forward. It's something we could, like I was indicating before, we need to look at it now if we're gonna institute it, either now or for next year. What's the flavor? We need to, it gets out of control. And we want people to come out and stay in the hotels, put their boats in and have a good time, but we don't want people to be using it for their year-long storage.
Their seasonal
Their
dock.
dock space. I'd love to have my boat there. It's a beautiful spot. But it's not
For those
fair
watching,
everybody.
it's the lakefront parking.
Yes.
It's a parking on the lakefront.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. It needs to be addressed, because on the weekends, people can't come down from up the lakes and
Right.
come into town, park their boat and go shopping.
Right.
There's just no place to park.
Well, if there's something ready to go, I'd love to see it enacted this
Yes.
year.
Yeah, me
There
too.
is something ready to go.
I have no problem with it.
I'll take a cursory look at it and.
Yeah, I'll get, Ron's in every day, I'll remind him to bring it.
Let's see if we can roll it out then.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. That leads right into the revitalization of the waterfront down here. Kurt's been working on this, so he's probably the one who should actually talk about it. But there's a few things that's like the tennis courts. I personally, I see and I think, I know Kurt agrees with me on this, is possibly relocating the tennis courts to the Pavilion North Street.
The recreation area.
Exactly. And then we talked about, we've talked about this in the past in regards to where we would put it. Well, there is that section, that property that we own, the town that was given to the town by Mike Mitchell. Right. And it's kind of a wetland, but I'm not sure.
Is that the one beyond, is it beyond the pavilion a little
It's
bit?
just past the pavilion, past the
Okay.
On the
parking
other
lot.
side, yeah.
It is, I looked at it the other,
And I'm not sure the distinction, whether, especially if it was in the hamlet, it may not be considered the integrity may not be that of one that couldn't be adjusted. Whereas we fill this, we could actually we'd have to just make one someplace else. Like what happened over on Railroad Ave, they deemed it not a significant, because it was in the hamlet and the water course and everything, so it was deemed insignificant, so that we were able to fill that over there.
right.
This may be the same area. I'd like to explore that, to try to maybe put our tennis courts there and maybe a little parking at the same time.
Yeah. And maybe a dog park too.
Right, a dog park, yes, indeed, because that would be great, because we don't have a dog park.
Right. So I was looking at it, it's a pretty flat piece of land in there, and, there is a creek that runs down through there, there is some, but.
Yeah, we could really make it
It could,
kind of cool.
I think it could potentially be
A beautiful park.
fixed. I don't know how the laws work with that yet, but
Even if we had to bridge across it.
Right,
And
and
then
that's
develop the other side of it would
kind
be-
of,
Which would be really cool anyways.
Yeah.
It would
Right.
give us another venue.
And you might have some information, because when we did the parking lot, we went over in that direction. We did have some small issues in there, but he might have some information on the
Good.
property.
Well, even if we have to delineate those areas, that's fine. That's part of the
Right.
park setting,
Sure.
so we could really make it work.
And I can get somebody down from the park agency to take a look.
Yeah, so that, I think,
I can't
I'd like to look
remember
at that. I'd like to move that.
and that would be good, because then
Yeah.
we don't have to touch where other events and stuff like that go on, and, because we were over there the other day with the hand sanitizer looking at the field too, and
It's a big field, but we're running out of field.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of
We use
people
it for a
we
lot
got
of
the
things.
baseball
Yeah.
field now on this side, like, what happens if this is going on over here? That's needed too, so, yeah, I mean, it would be great if we can utilize that extra space back there and tuck something in.
And then that frees us up over here because, I mean, the tennis courts are really taking up some really super high-end property.
Not only
So
that,
was this office.
yeah.
Well, that's a different conversation,
Yeah, I
but
know.
one at a time.
However, that tennis court's we need to make a decision with it, because it's gonna need some work. There's a lot of low spots in it. It really needs to be leveled and repaved.
Well, I'm not in
This-
a big
right.
hurry to put
Yeah.
money into it.
Right.
No, that's why I said, this is a
Right.
good time to talk about moving it.
And I've been shy on bringing up the lakefront plan during this whole time right now, but I have been working on it, and I have stuff laid out, so hopefully, if everybody's ready for that, at the next meeting, I'll start sharing it with you between now and then. and-
Move on it.
Right.
Let's start moving the ball forward.
That's planning, so that's excellent, even if
Yeah.
it's not timely right now, planning is always timely.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about, both of you, I think we'd have to have someone draw what we're
Right.
talking about,
Oh,
so
indeed,
that's another
yes.
expense
Yeah.
that would probably have to occur
This,
after.
the study that was done is a little older, so.
No,
Yeah, it's
I'm
gonna have to
talking over
redate
here.
Oh,
it.
here?
Yeah.
Over there, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, and that will, you're right, that has to be updated
Yeah.
with whatever.
But at
what
the
I
same
did-
token, we budget for it, and we're investing in our future, so, you know, our
Yes.
kids' future, so, and the town's future, so I think it's money well spent.
We're about to spend some
So,
money on a
Like
playground.
this over here, I did fly my drone, I put my drone above the town here and did aerial shots down, overlapped it with the study that was done in the past, so you'll see when the plan comes out, how it matches up into it, so.
Yeah, that was quite a.
And I did talk to the company that did the revitalization plan before, and they're more than willing to, they don't think they have to do a whole new study, that they think they can just,
Redate, basically.
yeah, just make some changes. So it might not even be that big of a deal as far as.
That'd be great.
A planning phase, so
Good.
when we're ready for that, they're ready to talk.
That definitely is spoken to in the master plan, but what you're talking about, I think it would be wise to kind of research and find.
Try to move that forward to find out what our limits are.
Well, and to find out where it fits with the master plan too, as far as planning for any
Right.
recreational upgrades.
Right. Yeah.
It just
Good
goes
point.
hand in hand for funding, that's
Yeah.
all.
Might be going into that Hamlet situation, have that part of it.
Could be.
Yeah.
And we could do that quick.
Helps.
That would be easy enough to do.
That would help us,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, so we have a
But-
bunch of moving pieces here we might be able to
Yeah.
put together.
But also, one little curveball I'll throw in there, but think about the ice skating rink also, because
Oh,
if
yeah.
other things happen, that's gotta be part of this.
I'll throw it out there when I'm thinking it.
Okay.
I'd love to see a pavilion over here with a bandstand in the front, so if it rains and the people can go inside. In the wintertime, the pavilion would be a beautiful log structure. Inside would be an ice skating rink.
Really nice.
I-
In the
I-
summertime, it could be a pickleball court inside there, so you still keep some kind of activity. It
When the
would be a
bands are playing, the
multi-use.
rain comes down and like.
Well, I was even thinking if it's there, just because other things going on with.
If there was room down there, I mean, it depends how much space
Right.
you could build down there, but I'd love to see an ice skating rink covered.
Right.
I
I know
would
it's
too.
been talked about a lot, that's why I mentioned it.
Yeah.
It's not a little thing. It
I
gets
hate,
talked
I
about
hate to
quite
say
often.
this, but we enjoyed going up to Inlet to their indoor
Yeah.
ice skating
That's
rink.
great.
and-
Yeah.
With the grandkids.
It is. I know a lot of people that do it.
And it'd be nice if it was right here in town where
Yes.
people would, hotels and people would come here and stay, and if the weather's not the best that it is for riding or skiing, that they go skating, or they
Right.
do it all, it's like,
And there are people that
Understood.
use the ice skating rinks
yeah,
all winter.
I think it would be great, so.
Yeah, they have kids play over there and play hockey quite a bit. though.
Yeah. I did get one letter thanking us for it.
I'll start emailing you guys some of the,
All right.
Good.
I'll start tracking that down myself. Joy Track Road, the old highway property. I was talking with John Pizak earlier today. Different conversation in itself. He has concerns, they're going through the phase 1 into phase 2 study for that property. He's concerned, he's hearing a lot of rhetoric as far as pushback on the possibility of moving that road. And he says, if you guys aren't wanting to do this and this is not going to be your deal, let me know because I'll.
Nothing's come into my office.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything either. He emailed everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he said. It was going out, but
Yeah.
But he
he made
emailed
special
that,
point. That's not why I called him.
Right.
He made special point to bring that up.
he emailed that we were removing the bottom of the, he insinuated, I guess, hinted at that we were gonna remove that section of the road completely. And what we wanted to do was reroute it, and I knew he was in on that when we first discussed
Oh
it.
yeah, we discussed it. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, there's concern there. I just said I would.
I haven't heard anything, so I
I
don't
would
know
bring
what
it
to-
back up, and I would tell him tomorrow. But I'm under the idea that we're all in the same mindset when it comes to that.
Tell him to refer him to me, and I'll discuss, and I'll talk to them, because I'm in the office.
Okay.
Or
Well,
one
he
of
probably
us.
is going to talk to you anyways. So.
Okay.
So I just wanted to bring that up because that was
Mm-hmm.
his concern, and he didn't want to have his staff pushing,
No, I don't
pushing
blame
a
him.
ball that wasn't going to go
I
anywhere.
don't know where he's gotten it.
I have no idea,
Yeah,
so.
okay.
All right. But sometimes that stuff festers and you, all
Mm-hmm.
of a sudden it reaches around and catches you, so I'd rather be in front of it. With that, moving back to the funding for our wastewater
Mm.
disinfection upgrades, a pretty significant number. I had talked to Corey Reed. He had said he didn't feel comfortable about the CFAs, so I asked him, are the CFAs coming out? I didn't think they were. He said, but the DEC guys, some of the guys at DAC say they're coming out. And then I did talk to John in regards to that. That's the reason I called John Pizak, and he says, there are no CFAs coming out. And he figures that, he wishes they would just say they're not coming out. Because he goes, everybody's kind of on the fence waiting for it. With that, I did have the conversation with Corey that we've had this a couple of times, and I even in one of our meetings I said that if we're not getting funded for it, we can't afford to fund it. The town can't do it. It's a benefit use district. That district does not have enough money to fund that.
Right.
It's an unfunded mandate. So we will need to extension of time. Wasn't sure how that was going to go over, but with talking with DEC, he goes, well, realistically, this is a modification to your permit. It's not a consent order. So we could probably give an extension of time, but it's not in writing. But I said I wanted a year to two to do it because we're on a 22-1 build 22 to bring it on process. I'm thinking of running 23-24 is what the extension
Is
would need to
22
be.
the deadline?
Yes, that's when we have to be online.
So I'm wondering, because of the pandemic, if you'll see that gets changed anyway, overall.
But that was my question, because I figured they might do something like that, and they weren't. They do a case by case, because some people already have stuff moving, and that construction continued on, through the process. But we don't have anything, and we are 99.9% likely we will be funded for one of those grants. And there are other grants, and we'll continue to search those. But right now, we can't. I wouldn't recommend that. I'd rather ask for the extension than try to fund it.
Yes.
And
We're gonna
take
have
another.
to. Corey and I and someone from EFC had a long conference call about other funding sources too, and
Right.
none of them are as palatable as the CFAs.
Well, and there's some other stuff, but we missed some of it too, and
Yeah.
at this point in time. But once again, we don't know if any of those are going to fund right now.
What I've talked to Dylan Walrath, and he told me that the last time they went through a recession, he was in the position he's at. He's the contract. He handles the contracts for the Grant Gateway. He's the one handling the contracts for the bathrooms. He said the last time he saw this, grant money that had already been issued will probably be held up for 3 or 4 months while the state looks to see whether they actually get it.
Have it.
But they're going to use it somewhere for a while until they can give it back. And he said, and any new grant funding that comes out, he said it might be 2-3 years down the road.
Yeah, that's
Wow, that's normal.
We had a quick conversation, and that was
Yeah.
really why I was trying to push that 2-year note.
Yeah, so we need to get an extension, just so we're not pushing and grasping at straws and taking.
Well, I don't
deals
want
we
to say,
get
hey,
on
you're
for us.
coming up on violation of your permit, and
Right.
we can't
Right,
can't take that chance. So we need it written in the
Right.
near future.
Good deal.
What was that
Unfortunately-
grant worth? Do you remember how much?
40%.
Yeah.
It's not as good as the past one,
No,
but
I
it's
was
still a
gonna
good
say,
one.
we still gotta be thinking
Well,
about this amount
it's
of
a
money here.
3.8 if we do most of the program that we'd like to do over there, stuff we have to take care of. So it's significant. It's a significant grant, but it's still a significant investment for
Yeah.
a use district.
Otherwise, we have to take a look at the contract, at the job itself and see what we want to trim back.
Well, we may have to do that. I mean, that may,
Right.
so that's not off the table by any stretch
Right.
of the
We
imagination.
may
So,
have, there's some construction that we may have to put off.
you know, we may meet the bare minimum of the requirement of the mandate and then move on from there. But that still won't be cheap.
No, not at all.
Okay, that's it. I think we're done with page 1.
Okay, is that it?
Wait.
It's gotta go to the little notebook.
Uh-oh. Got
That's
two
in
pads
his
going
pocket
on.
when he thinks it's
Well, I was
done.
driving when I was doing this one. All right, I'm just gonna ask. Is everybody's feeling still no fireworks, or can we revisit that?
I don't believe we can, from what Mike Farmer had said about a crowd, over 5,000 people.
Yeah, so the regulations came back, it sounds like, we have to apply for a permit, is my understanding, with the state, or file the plan. I think, my understanding is basically we have to take control and be able to enforce the guidelines that are being put up by New York State with
Yeah,
a crowd of that
4th of July-
size, which
4th of July weekend,
will
yeah.
be impossible for us to do.
Impossible.
So we don't have the work manpower or the ability to put that plan in place, so,
Right.
I'm
Well, they're starting to see, if you look online, you start searching stuff, and now you see some traction in like Syracuse and different towns not in the boroughs up here, that they were actually kind of looking in that direction. Before they were just blank, now they're actually moving in that direction a little bit, but I'm not sure if that's, maybe the governor's mandate or his direction is actually not gonna allow them to do it either, so.
Well, we did say, I thought we said, and actually Nancy has some information because she had talked to the company, I believe, or Mike did, on the cancellation policy and stuff, but I'll let her speak of that. But I thought when we left here, we said, not gonna do it 4th of July, but there's a possibility we could do it at another date.
Later in the season.
You know, in August
that
or
was-
September, I
that's
don't
what
know,
I-
October, winter, whatever, but.
Inlet
I know
I
it's
reschedule.
was
not
just
the
thinking
4th
maybe
of
we were coming
July.
out of it sooner and it might be more palatable,
That's
but
would be awesome. But, I don't know, Nancy, could you, there was a cancellation where there is a cost
Right, this
involved.
cancellation fee that we would have to pay, I believe it was $1,600. 25% we have to pay, which your $6,500 is what our 4th of July fireworks cost us. So we do have to pay the cancellation fee. I did not ask if we go to do them a different weekend, if we're getting credit for that cancellation fee.
Right.
But if we do it a different weekend, the price is totally different.
always, yeah.
We spend $6,500 because it's 4th of July and we do an awesome show. We wouldn't have necessarily the same caliber when we did it in an off weekend.
Right.
The price is like $2,500, I think.
Yeah, we've
But I
done,
don't know if we get credit for the cancellation. I did not ask.
Right.
So.
I think the thing, you know, like, they're not allowing public meetings until July 7th. They're not gonna let 5,000 people gather for fireworks. It's basically kind of how, I mean,
So no, short answer.
I was just taking a swing at it.
I know. So
Swing and miss.
The hotel owners would love to have them too, right? now,
Yeah,
because
I mean,
reservations
it's
are
not like
down.
you don't want 'em.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but there are,
I just really want to get Main Street moving and percolating again, so.
the good thing is like, you know, I mean, like, we're not out of the woods yet by any means, but, you know, there has been a lot of traffic on Main
Yeah,
Street,
yeah,
you know, I mean,
certainly
on the
has.
weekends and even the weekdays and on the lakes, you know, I was just out in the lake today and there was
And this
a
is
lot of activity.
early in the
So,
season.
you know, so,
Yeah.
you know,
This is the early season for us,
Yeah.
this is warm.
Yeah.
We went from cold, we
Hopefully
went
that
from
trend
giant
will
snow
keep
to
going, where
70
people are
degrees
getting out.
overnight.
Yeah.
And kids aren't in school. People are coming up.
Yeah. Been cooped up for a while, you know.
Yep.
So we'll see what
100 days,
happens.
they said, that's what this today, 100 days. Does it seem that long? Seems
Yes.
that long, doesn't it?
But there's still some events and stuff like that for the fall that haven't been canceled, and, you know, we're hopeful that they're gonna
Right.
push through. So, but I know the car show was canceled.
That's
And,
correct.
Mhm.
you know, the frog jumping contest was canceled.
Frogs are happy though.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, it would have been hot for them this time.
Didn't cancel the bike deal yet, though, right?
no, Bike Festival's still on as it stands right now, unless, you know, something changes, but we're still hopeful. That's the weekend of October 3rd,
Right.
so.
All right, I got it, that's it.
Okay. Councilwoman Green.
Yes, Cap 21 has submitted a plan for the farmer's market, which is awesome. They open on June 19th. I can send a link if anybody's curious. It does just address all of the typical sanitizing and social distancing and masks and all that for the vendors and the employees of the market, volunteers included. They're gonna limit, I believe, to 50 people at a time coming through so that it's a more controlled environment. Casey's gonna provide cones for Park Ave again, so we'll
Oh, good.
block off that side of the
Are
street.
they gonna increase the hours that it's open to allow more people, they were just,
No, because you know what happens often is that everybody comes right when they open,
Mm-hmm.
and then, because I used to do it with baskets, and then it peters out during the course of the day.
Gotcha.
So by limiting it, it might make people come at different times
Right.
to get what they want to get, instead of overwhelming them. Graduation at Macaulay, I know Rex has talked to Dave, and he talked to Stevie. He's gonna hopefully use the band shell in the parking lot, and they're gonna either do a drive-in type situation where they actually get a radio station so people can tune in their cars to listen, like you
Oh,
would at
yeah.
a movie drive-in. So they can hear what's going on, but that's in the works, but Macaulay looks like the location,
Right.
so that they can control who comes in, which is
that'd be great, the kids can do
terrific.
graduation.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just trying to think of other local stuff that I was talking about earlier, and I can't. Dave's gonna talk more about this, I think, in his stuff, but there's a New York State contact tracing. This is for the public. It's, if you see New York State contact tracing, answer your phone, because it is them calling to find out if you were near people who have tested for COVID, positive for COVID, so they're tracing you. So answer the phone, the number's 518-387-9993. It is confidential and private. The other thing I want to talk about is George Floyd's murder and how it has impacted the entire nation, in fact, the entire world. I did talk to Chief Johnston about police procedures here, and what he told me basically, in a nutshell, and is that the town of Webb pays a company called Lexipol that determines the policies used by our police department. This company is overseen by a panel of attorneys that determine best practices for the Webb PD. So, you know, that's hopefully enough to make sure that we're covered. Also that the governor is looking at making some changes also in the state as far as chokeholds and that sort of thing. So I just wanted to address that. On that same note, I did reach out to Nicole Hyatt Patterson, who is the director of the Diversity Initiative for ANCA, and she has added me to her mailing list to receive information on activities, opportunities, and actions available to communities in the park. I don't know if the CAA has already reached out to this person at all, but she said that her team right now is putting stuff together, and they're going to put out a publication on Monday because of all the stuff that's been going on in the nation. And so once I receive her publication, then we'll have a conversation, because I said I'm basically a warm body that's willing to learn and do what I can for our community. But she said we can talk about how to collaborate on how our community can be more welcoming and inclusive for Black peoples, other people of color, First Nations, and other minoritized groups. So I think that's really important for us to start looking at. We tend to invite people here that look just like us and sound just like us, and so hopefully we can reach out to more people. So that may be something when I start talking with her that I'll talk to whoever in the CAA would be the parties that would be willing to have that conversation. I'm sure they would want to do that. And that's all, guys.
Oh, that was short for you, Barb.
I know. There's things I forgot. Oh, just to the point of things being put off, the Climate Smart group has not gone away. We just had to wait out, and also the zoning review has not gone away. We just have had to wait out until we could have meetings. So just want to let you know we're still there, and that's all.
Councilman Ross.
Yes, sir. I do.
That's a lot of written on your paper.
Oh yeah, but I'm always usually pretty quick though. But I got a lot of stuff. So first of all, I mentioned last week that I talked about Route 28. I had the conversation with Casey. He did talk to somebody with the highway, whatever, the Department of Transportation. They did grind off the bump on the bridge, so that's not so sharp. But he didn't have an answer for the bumps that, I don't know if you noticed, in front of Birds and up by what is Hollister's now. Mm-hmm. Those bumps are pretty bad this winter. They go away kind of in the summer, but they're only going to get worse. I thought maybe they would address it when they can, so he's working on that. I'd also like to mention that the playground, the old playground is gone, thanks to the highway department. They tore that out. And I would also like to mention that the DPW worked on the pirate ship out here, and if everything goes well, that should pass inspection this time around, so that we kept that going.
Is it seaworthy?
No.
Yep. Yes, it is.
No, but it's play worthy. And the new playground, supposedly June 23rd, Nancy? 22nd?
Yeah, June 22nd.
22nd?
22nd, the equipment's arriving. We'll start on the 23rd, and it's supposed to be finished by the 26th, that Friday.
Right,
If
so-
the weather cooperates, if everything goes according to plan.
Correct. So that's something that's going on. I also would like to mention that I had talked to the town clerk and the supervisor about all the expenditures that are we spending on this pandemic, and just keeping track of, because it was obviously money that we did not budget for, and we're into the thousands, you know, that we, not that we need to do this, I understand that, but we need to keep track of where it's coming from and how much we spent in that, so I believe.
There's a file, and there is a form to fill out with FEMA, and we will be reimbursed
Right.
for anything that was related to the COVID pandemic that we had to buy extra, which is a long list. I've sat through a couple of
heck
webinars, and there's things in there I forgot about,
Sure.
didn't realize, so,
They're paying 100% or?
yeah. Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
because it was declared a national emergency in New York State, FEMA is covering.
Well, I wouldn't hold my breath on when it's coming.
Oh, the
I
county's
see it this year.
No, the county's been getting the money right
Oh,
along.
okay.
He's been filing every once in a while for what they've been spending
All right.
down to 911 center.
I'll
The money's
keep
it's
track of
there.
that.
Yeah, it's just little things. Even
It all adds up.
Oh,
some of
there's
the
a lot
meals
things.
we've sent to Sharp because they can't get out and because of the emergency. Things like that. That all of a sudden you start adding those all in.
Oh, yeah, there's,
There's quite a bit. All the plexiglass we've been purchasing, things like that.
sure.
Yeah, I have a file going,
That's a,
and I spent
That's
one day
it.
so far on the forms. I probably got two
Well-
more days on those.
certainly important, because budget time, it's, you know,
Mhm.
it's our responsibility.
Yep.
The other thing is, I had a discussion with Kelly Green, not too long ago, and they're still optimistic that they would like to open the park. There's a lot of, they have no idea. It could be tomorrow, it could, won't, take that back. They won't know anything until probably the last minute, but that's not what I'm talking about. The one thing that I would like to bring up is, she did say that the buses that were, there was emails going around about buses and stuff. To date, they have okayed, the Department of Transportation okayed buses basically at full capacity. Everybody has to wear a mask. The buses will be clean. They go to wherever, Herkimer and Lewis County. So it's not, at one point they were saying they can only put 12 kids or whatever on a bus or whatever. So that got okayed. So that was quite a positive for employees. Is a huge issue for them and probably for us. Anybody that has a business is probably employees is tough. Unemployment is, they're paying more than it's worth. These people are staying home and not working, so.
Yeah, that ends here in the end of July though.
Yeah, well, end of July is,
Let's hope.
so does our business just about.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, you still got another month to go.
Another month, but anyways, that's, so I think that's all I have tonight, Dave.
Well, you just got a big stack of papers.
I know.
You scared us.
I'll leave it at that, I talked enough. Cause I know Dave's got some stuff.
Well, I'm gonna give the floor to the town clerk.
A couple things, couple FYIs. New liquor license for Our Little Kitchen LLC. It's on 3067 State Route 28. They're gonna be called Keen Kitchen, so that's taking effect.
Okay.
Summer garbage schedule is taking effect on June 22nd, it's a Monday. That'll be the new summer schedule. Transfer station will be open Sundays 8 to 4, starting on that 6/21. On Sundays only, 8 to 4. The rest of the days are normal, 8 to noon. Closed on Wednesdays. And we're still doing junk days. We have the 13th and the 20th left for junk days, 8 to 4. Like I say, had a good Saturday. Everything went well. No issues.
Okay.
And that's what I had.
Thank you. All right. Since I knew there wasn't a lot of business, I kind of made a couple of notes to go over things again. First of all, I'd like to announce that today is National Strawberry Rhubarb Pie Day, in case anybody's interested.
Love it.
And if you're a Disney fan, it is also National Donald Duck Day. So, there you go.
Thanks, Dave.
Not a problem. Public topics. I'll take a little time to impart some information. I mean, we've been inquiring about testing for the COVID and things like that, and I've been trying to come up to speed on some of the rules. I did have a phone conversation and on a conference call with Bassett Hospital, and I've relayed that for testing up here, and they want to do it on a contractual basis with employers if they could, because they're not equipped to do it with the public yet. And as of last Friday, Bassett Healthcare is doing COVID testing down in Herkimer, but right now, because the labs are so backed up and they're not keeping up with the testing that's coming in, they've gone back to symptoms only for now till it opens up. However, what they said was you can call the number, which is 607-547-5555, and let them make an appointment for you and decide whether. So, because eventually it's going to open back up again. So we'll post that number on the website again. And then also Griffiths is still taking tests. You call the Department of Health at the 888 number, 364-3065, and you make an appointment. You can go in and get tested right at Griffiths at the drive-thru there. I've had some inquiries concerning the contact tracing that Barb mentioned. So I talked to Public Health down in Herkimer about how it works. And what it is anytime there's a COVID test taken in Herkimer County, the results of that test go to Public Health automatically. And if they get a positive test, that automatically goes to the contact tracer, and they are trained to start following and tracing and backing up to see where that person was. So that phone call you get won't be that have you been near this person? It's going to be that you were near that person. Okay.
And what test is this, Dave?
It's the swab test.
Oh, that, okay.
Yeah.
The nasal swab.
The nasal
Okay,
swab test.
okay.
The one that go all the way to the back of your head?
Yeah, the one that they do the lobotomy with. So that's what that is. I mean, it's and if they're from out of town, which we get a lot of up here, the same policy exists down in, say, Pennsylvania. So if somebody comes up here and tested positive in Pennsylvania, as soon as that contact tracer finds out they came up here from Pennsylvania and Herkimer County is automatically notified that they're here. So they pick up the trace here too. So it's in place. There's no point in calling the contact tracers to see if you've been near anybody, because they do a good job. So that's how it works. I just was curious, and so that's where it is. And just a note that discussions have been continuing with MVHS concerning the 2 doctor positions over at the health center right now. We're all working hard. I've been in touch with the state comptroller's office, with our legal counsel, and the Health and Wellness Committee, and also their legal counsel, and we'll eventually reach some sort of agreement so we can finally put this back behind us. But it's going to take a little while. A lot of back and forth, a lot of give and take. So, and the last thing, yes, I was going to mention, but Barb did, was the graduation. We are working on something. Rex was in here a couple of times, and we're working on some sort of graduation procedure. We'll do whatever we can for them.
The state did announce, I think, yesterday, 150 graduations of up to 150 people outside.
Right.
Yeah, it's nice they're loosening it up a little bit.
Can I interject one thing too? I
Absolutely.
wasn't sure if you were going to cover it or not, so I held off on it. But in the Bassett discussion, there is an industrial hygienist. Her name is Maggie Hoff, and they're offering the service that if you want to have somebody basically come up and walk your store, she can assist you and comply with guidance on managing the risk of COVID-19 transmission through on-site assessment and development of actions related to managing people, places, process to work or to reduce the risk as far as practicality, basically cut down the risk. And she'll basically review your plan that you have and help you that you've written for the New York Forward reopening safety plan, which many businesses have to do to comply with New York State to reopen right now. So basically, they're willing to do this. The price jumped up a little bit. It's $150 an hour to have this person come in. They just got back to me a few hours ago, actually, and so they're going to write up some contracts that if people are interested in having Maggie come up and walk through your business, she will come go through it, give you all her experiences and data, and work with you. So if anybody's interested in that, the CA is kind of trying to make the arrangements, which is basically just contact me. I've kind of taken it on. So if anybody is interested in having Maggie come, please reach out to me. My email is kurt@kurtgardner.com. So feel free to email me, and I will, as soon as I get the information, I can forward on the contracts and schedule a time, or work with them with scheduling a time.
Is that something that the CEA put out to all their members?
We are.
Or
I
could
just
you?
literally got this 2 hours ago.
Actually,
I spoke with them last week, and they were getting together. They were writing up something so I could actually have something
Understand.
in writing to put out there.
Are you
So,
having a meeting tomorrow night?
there's going to be a Zoom meeting tomorrow night, just because they extended it to July 7th. So public meetings.
That was actually Bassett's suggestion for better use of your resources than testing, was to have someone come up and show you how to protect yourself. It's your
Makes
business.
sense.
I was gonna say it makes a lot of sense.
So I'm not sure if anything, as far as town buildings go or anything like that, if we as a town have any interest to, we can, I'll let you guys know when she's coming out.
Yeah, we could.
We
I don't
can-
see why not.
So,
And it just as an FYI, I don't know what the numbers are today, but as of yesterday, there were 70 800 tests in Herkimer County out of, I think, a population of 90,000, and only 130 positive tests. So keep that in mind.
Total.
Total.
Yeah, so I just checked the numbers before we came in, 13 active cases right now.
Yeah, that's all.
One hospitalization, 13 active cases right now.
So, the testing, again, it's nice to know, but it's a lot of money. Even if it's paid by the insurance, somebody's paying that bill somewhere.
Well, it gets passed on.
Yeah, along the line, down the line. So their suggestion was a better use of resources would be to have this hygienist, the industrial hygienist, come up and show you how to protect yourselves, set up your businesses to protect your employees.
Well, that'll pay dividends in the long run.
Yeah.
Because they'll know the proper procedures.
Yeah, because my comment to them was, I just want to know what the best procedure would be for us up here, because we have a short season and a small workforce.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to do everything we could to protect that short window and the few people that we have that are doing it. So.
And
With
the
a large
antibody
info.
test you can get done. A lot of times you can just call your doctor and get a prescription,
Yeah.
and they'll do the blood work for you
Yeah.
and get your antibody test done.
And MVHS actually is working with a lab to try and initiate doing the nasal swab COVID-19 tests. So that's all I have.
You know why I was so short? I forgot one of my papers.
Too late. Oh, never mind.
I don't remember if we said it at the last meeting, but Andy did give me a copy of the relaxed restrictions, I can't talk tonight, for businesses. So, real quick, that the Town of Webb zoning ordinance gives the planning board authority to allow greater than the specified amount of outdoor display of merchandise on any new or existing commercial retail establishment. Additionally, restaurants and similar food service establishments are allowed to have outdoor seating adjacent to the building. So because of the discussion, because of the pandemic, the planning board did unanimously agree to approve the use of outdoor space and to allow leniency in how they do it, as long as they still go according to the safety regulations and they aren't blocking the road or driveways and that sort of thing. So when the public sees more activity outside, that's why our zoning has allowed it to happen.
Right.
So I just wanted to mention that.
And then actually, they eased up the state restrictions and allowed service outside too, as long as.
But we had it first.
We blazed the trail for them.
Yeah.
No, and that is just as far as the relaxed laws is a temporary thing. It's just until
Right.
Yeah, it's got a sunset on it.
This year.
This year.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Right.
Just FYI.
Just to help out.
Definitely.
Dave, may I?
Yes, you may.
I would like, we talked about this, the boat parking thing, bringing that back up and doing it. Do we need any kind of motion or anything to set this thing in place? Because we've talked about it for years, and we talk about it, and then it's still every year nothing got done.
I don't
Is
believe
there a
so.
motion or a?
We have the package together that's actually, so all the nuts and bolts are in there, and the tools are in there to move forward. We can probably just move forward.
We can just move forward. No, we don't need to
It
approve it.
doesn't change the law, you know.
It doesn't change the law at all.
We're not changing the law,
Just-
we're
I
just
mean-
actually starting to use the law.
Enforce it.
We're gonna enforce it, and we're maybe enforce it a little more strictly, and we may add a few teeth to it.
Yeah.
That's
If
all.
we were to change the fines,
Well, that may happen.
right.
Okay.
That-
Today-
Time limits, all that stuff.
Well, the times are remaining the same at this point. So, I mean, we can get it out of the gate and then we can make changes.
Right.
You know, so we can walk this through, basically it's a walkthrough on the. new
But not to change the whole thing at once. I mean, we can,
Okay.
I gave you the figures on what it costs to have, to pay for dockage over at Rivets as a guideline.
And I guess I'm gonna ask this question. The chief was in the room at the time, and he kinda suggested he'd like to help make this work. Is he offered to, is there gonna be a police officer who's gonna do this, or who's gonna
He's not gonna
enforce it?
allocate everybody, he's gonna allocate one guy.
Okay,
And then he'll rotate through, but with his days off and stuff, but he will be, that'll be his job. If he has to, he'll rotate somebody else, and he's not gonna assign all the guys to do dock duty.
right,
So he's gonna manage it, and he said he was ready to go.
Yeah.
okay.
We need a steady record of who's there.
Oh, yeah, that's.
A daily
it's-
record,
It's
that's the
it's
only way
involved,
you
I
can-
can tell you that, but,
But no, he does-
awesome, I'm
he
I'm
wants
excited.
to get it off the ground. So.
Right, good.
And I do too, because it is a problem, and we're losing business in here, because people are frustrated and can't come down and park.
Yeah, we want people to
Yeah.
put their boats in, and we want them to do that. We want them to embrace the town, they would come in and.
Right.
But if you can't find a place to park,
Part of the
you
charm.
don't go back.
It's part of the charm up here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
I-
thanks, Dave.
Go ahead.
I did get an email from local,
Mm-hmm.
was asking what the town's contribution was to the sign at the American Legion. And the town paid $5,250. So that was the only email that we did get.
Right.
That was our contribution, $5,250.
That was the bill we received for it.
Yeah. That's all I had, I forgot to mention it.
Yeah.
While we're doing that.
On that note, too, where are we at with the sign project with, we are doing new signs about Coley and stuff like that, right?
I ran into Luke the other day, and he too was kind of set back. I guess he bought a house and
Yeah.
was working on getting into his house, and he said he's working on that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
It's forthcoming.
He has a down payment from us. So.
Yeah,
No, that's
he's-
cool.
he's
No, I'm
on
not
it.
worried
I
about it,
did just
yeah.
talk to him the other day, thanks for asking.
Well, he made the signs over here, right?
Yes.
No, he's
Came
great,
out
I mean,
good.
that question.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Wasn't sure if they were done or.
Yeah,
Yeah. The signs
great
are nice. It's a
improvement.
nice addition over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
I have to admit.
looks nice. He does a great job.
Okay.
okay.
So the only other thing, I need a motion to transfer $3,037.36 from Parks and Recreation CE miscellaneous to Parks and Recreation equipment. This is the extra when they bought the mower. This was the bagger that he wasn't expecting, or he decided to buy, and he tried to pull it out of miscellaneous, and I missed it. So I want to move it to equipment just as housekeeping. Keep
Motion.
it where
Second.
Bart Green and Don. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved, thank you. So I need a motion to pay the audited claims.
So move.
Second.
Councilman Ross, Councilman Green, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So now I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Councilman Hale, Councilman Gardner,
Sure.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much.
Good meeting.
Have a good evening. Enjoy the weather.
I will talk to, you gonna talk to Ron tomorrow? Or you want me to talk?